So we're going to start looking at data and data analysis. And data and data analysis is getting more and more important because as we have more and more data available to us, we have to make sure that we're analyzing this and being able to get the appropriate information and be able to interpret the information. So we're going to collect and organize information so that we can see how events occur and how to determine some probabilities. We're going to work with some of the see how data can help us with chance and probability. And secondly, we also want to see patterns in data so that we can make some informed decisions about some data. So there's different ways that data can be shown. We can look at frequency trends, okay, and these bar graphs, or what we call histograms, are a way to show relationships. So in this case here, this is on the y-axis. This represents the number of people. On the x-axis represents the heights of people. So we have this bar representing people of heights of 160 centimeters, 170, 180, 190, 200. So we have a few here, lots here. So what can we interpret about this data? Okay, so what we can interpret is basically that there are more people in the middle, okay, or more people of what we would call kind of maybe average height. So there's most people are around 180 centimeters, and there's few people that are short or tall, that are 160 centimeters and 200 centimeters tall. Okay, so those are the shorter and taller people. So, and this is something we would kind of expect. This is what we call a normal distribution. Okay, so this one here, we have a chart here. The y-axis, the height of this chart, represents the number of people. Okay, the x-axis represents the ethnicities of these different people. So this is in 1961. So the ethnic origin. Okay, so we have the table here, which is now the same table as what we see from this chart. Okay, so this is a tabular form of this information, and this represents the bar graph or histogram form of this information. So we have here, like, the higher the graph, the more people there are. So we get a very quick relative reference of how many people are from these different backgrounds. So if we look at it, we can see that right away, just visually, we can see that Japanese origin are very small, whereas Italian and Ukrainian are quite large. Okay, so if we were to just kind of randomly select a person from this population, what is the least likely origin that we should get? Well, the least likely is likely going to be due to the fewest number of people. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be, we're probably going to least likely select a person of Japanese origin. Okay, this is what we mean about the data being able to inform us about probabilities as well. Now, it is important to note that there is a difference in these two bar graphs in that this one here is what is a continuous x-axis, so meaning that we go from small to large. This one here, there's no real organization of the x-axis. So in terms of what we're seeing in terms of distribution, there's not really any sort of trend. Whereas this one here, we see the central trend here. Okay, so that's important to note.